I was just going to keep going and talk about some examples, you know, like Brazil's. They have ridiculously high tariffs on electronics because they wanted to protect their computer industry in the 80s in order to, you know, as an infant industry, you know, the infant industry argument is that you need to protect industries that are new because, you know, other industries have been doing it for a while. And it's totally incorrect, right? Because in the 80s, you couldn't import anything that was electronics, like electronic computers, into Brazil. So everything had to be domestically produced. And by 1990, when they started actually rolling these back, a fax machine...
Rolling back the tariffs, you say?
Yeah, rolling back... Well, it wasn't just tariffs. It was actually totally protected. Yeah, you couldn't... It was illegal to have a computer made outside of Brazil between the 80s and the 90s. In the 90s, now it's just a huge tariff, right? But now it's like a 100% tariff or something like that, where an iPad cost over double what it cost anywhere else in the world. But what happened was they were trying to prop up their industry to make it compete, you know, on a global scale. And what happened was in the 1990s, a fax machine in Brazil was over $4 grand, and everywhere else was like $600. So,
well, I mean, in America, textiles has been defined as an infant industry since the 1790s.
Right. So I guess my question would be for that is the tariff more on the intellectual property or the physical or the actual production and creation of it itself?
Well, it's at the import, right? It's an import tax, so it's on the production, right? I suppose.
But okay, so like an American company would be able to go in there and produce it using Brazilian factories as long as they were using.
Yeah, they actually had deals like that where someone could do something like that. It's kind of like how Acura, someone was talking about Acura, right? They produce cars in the United States basically to get around the tariff.
The other side of tariffs are capital controls, which is saying to, you know, Burger King, you're not allowed to invest in Brazil or any other country besides America because we want to make American jobs. So instead of telling consumers to not buy foreign products, it's telling American companies to not outsource, to not invest abroad. And we're kind of getting scarily back towards capital controls, which we abolished back in like the 1950s with this new ban on reverse headquartering or whatever the tactic is.
So, like Burger King. So essentially, Apple could create the product, do all the R&D, mark it up as much as they could, patent it, and then make all the money off that from Brazil. But Brazil would do all the nitty-gritty production. That's not as strong.
They may have had capital controls as well. I'm not sure.
I'm not totally sure, but something like that on that degree, right? It's kind of like our iPads, right?
Usually, the intellectual property and the actual creative process is usually at a higher markup than just the manufacturing process.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess that was their goal, right?
In the United States, right? The firms in the U.S. design the products, and then we outsource the production elsewhere.
Yeah, I guess that was Brazil's goal in the 80s, right? Because they didn't want anyone they didn't even want you to import it. They didn't tariff it. They just didn't want it at all, right? So they probably wanted to make the intellectual property there in Brazil, but it just didn't work out.
Right. The thing about intellectual property is that nobody plays favorites. It's just whatever the best product is wins out.
Right.
You know, if you have a great idea, people are going to use it.
Well, not if you have a monopoly on that idea.
Oh yeah, it's artificial, yeah.
So, are you all set?
Yeah. Okay.
So,